the headlines, President Donald Trump defended plans for an expanded White House event venue, saying it remains within budget, and added that Xi Jinping assured him China will not arm Iran. Vladimir Putin arrived in Beijing for a two-day state visit, his 25th, as Russia and China move to deepen their strategic partnership. The UN nuclear watchdog warned of regional risk after a drone strike on the UAE's Baraka nuclear plant traced to Iraq, prompting calls for urgent de-escalation. African leaders in Kigali urge a unified framework for an indigenous atomic power grid, with Togo's president pushing for control of the continent's nuclear sector. And in the Philippines, the Senate Impeachment Court has served a summons to Vice President Sara Duterte, escalating proceedings over corruption and mismanagement allegations. Police have submitted the report on the May 13th Senate gun incident, with officials stressing there was no actual attack on the chamber. And in the trending news, a 19-year-old street vendor in Yantai has gone viral as a stir-fry CEO cooking over multiple woks in a sharp business suit. I'm Almar Forzuelo. Newsline World starts now. U.S. President Donald Trump defended plans of an expanded White House event venue, saying it is still within budget. Meanwhile, Trump also said Chinese President Xi Jinping assured him that China would not send weapons to Iran amid ongoing tensions in the Middle East. This report. U.S. President Donald Trump said plans for an expanded White House event venue remain on budget, adding that the project was enlarged to better accommodate major diplomatic gatherings and visiting world leaders. Speaking during remarks at the White House, Trump said the original proposal called for a smaller room before officials decided to double its size.
We doubled the size, but we're right on budget, right on plan.
Trump pointed to recent high-profile diplomatic visits as examples of why larger facilities are needed for official functions and state events.
We have President Xi coming here. We have no place to put him.
The president also emphasized the security advantages of the upgraded structure, describing it as a protective shield for those inside.
This is a shield. It protects everything that's inside.
The project forms part of broader efforts to modernize White House facilities while enhancing security for large-scale presidential events and international visits. Meanwhile, Trump said Chinese President Xi Jinping assured him that China would not send weapons to Iran amid ongoing tensions in the Middle East.
President Xi has promised me that he's not sending any weapons to Iran. That's a beautiful promise. I take him at his word. I appreciated it.
Trump described the commitment from Xi as a beautiful promise and said he trusted the Chinese leader following what he called an amazing visit to China. The U.S. president also highlighted the strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz, noting that China relies heavily on oil shipments passing through the waterway.
He does want it open, like me. I want it open, and we'll get it open.
Trump accused Iran of using the Strait of Hormuz as a military weapon and said Washington would continue efforts to secure international shipping routes in the region. Russian President Vladimir Putin has arrived in Beijing for a pivotal two-day state visit at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping. The visit marks Putin's 25th official trip to China, occurring as both nations mark key diplomatic anniversaries and look to deepen their comprehensive strategic partnership in increasingly complex international landscape. This report from Angie De Leon.
Russian President Vladimir Putin touched down in Beijing on Tuesday night, kicking off a high-profile two-day diplomatic itinerary. This is his 25th visit to China. Upon arrival, Putin descended the aircraft ramp and was greeted by Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, surrounded by large welcoming crowds waving national flags. The state visit comes as part of an active bilateral schedule following the two leaders' mutual attendance at Victory Day events, which marked 80 years since the end of World War II. Putin is set to engage in comprehensive strategic discussions with Xi Wednesday, alongside a separate meeting with Chinese Premier Li Qiang to focus closely on trade and economic cooperation. The timing of the summit carries a deep historic weight, falling on the 30th anniversary of the China-Russia strategic partnership, as well as the 25th anniversary of their landmark Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation. Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Guo Jiakun emphasized that the current framework continues to provide substantial stability to global affairs. The two heads of state are expected to cover a vast array of topics, exchanging direct views on bilateral trade infrastructure, expanding multi-sector cooperation, and navigating pressing regional and international challenges of mutual interest. Angie De Leon, your Global Citizen Correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Russian presidential aide Kirill Dmitriev has highlighted the growing importance of ties between Russia and China, describing the two nations as key partners in a rapidly changing global order. Daniela Paulite has the details.
Speaking about geopolitical and technological developments, Dmitriev said the world is experiencing one of the greatest periods of transformation in human history.
We live through the times of greatest change in human history. Change as far as countries are concerned, change as far as technology is concerned.
Dmitriev pointed to the rise of the Global South, particularly China, as a major driver of global economic growth and international cooperation.
The Global South, with China and other nations emerging as the largest and most important engine of growth of the world economy. With a lot of initiatives coming out of China to connect different nations, to build the spirit of partnership, to really leverage technology for the better of humankind.
He also emphasized the strategic and economic complementarity between Russia and China, citing opportunities in energy and artificial intelligence development.
The relationship between China and Russia is very important. We are very much complementary, and at a very basic level, it's not just about resources, but Russia is the largest holder of natural resources in the world, with estimated 73 trillion value of natural resources, which is basically 30-40% larger than any country who is number two. But it's more about joint opportunity.
The Kremlin aide added that closer cooperation between Russian and Chinese firms could strengthen their global competitiveness by combining resources, technology, and market access. His remarks come as Moscow and Beijing continue deepening economic and political cooperation amid shifting global alliances and tensions with Western nations. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulita, SMNI News.
UN's nuclear watchdog warned the Security Council Tuesday that a direct hit on the UAE's Baraka nuclear power plant carries chilling regional risk following a drone attack confirmed to have originated in Iraq. Jane Kudita has the story.
An attack.
The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency briefing following a highly sophisticated cross-border drone attack targeting the Baraka nuclear power plant in the United Arab Emirates. International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Grossi addressed the assembly, revealing that the strike on Sunday, May 17, severely damaged an external electrical generator outside the inner perimeter. The attack knocked out primary grid lines and forced engineers to run emergency backup diesel systems to prevent a meltdown at Reactor Unit 3 before off-site power was successfully restored. While radiation monitoring remains normal and zero casualties were documented, the IAEA chief issued a blunt warning about the fragility of nuclear facilities in the middle of expanding regional combat zones.
The situation, Mr. President, is of grave concern. This is a nuclear site in the Middle East where the consequences of an attack could be most serious. It is an operating nuclear power plant, and as such, it hosts thousands of kilograms of nuclear material in the core of the reactors, fresh and spent fuel. I want to make it absolutely and completely clear. In case of an attack on the Baraka nuclear power plant, a direct hit could result in a very high release of radioactivity to the environment. A hit that disabled the lines supplying electrical power to the plant could increase the likelihood of its reactors' cores melting.
Grossi confirmed that the agency's emergency center in Vienna is operating on a 24/7 war footing to track environmental fallout patterns. He announced plans to deploy nuclear safety specialists directly onto the ground in the Gulf to boost radiological defense protocols. The geopolitical fallout intensified on Wednesday when the UAE Foreign Ministry officially stated that intelligence vectors traced the weaponized drone fleet back to Iraqi territory. The statement immediately shifted blame to Iran-backed militias operating inside Iraq.
На этом фоне наша страна категорически осуждает действия тех, кто нанес удар по АЭС на территории Объединенных Арабских Эмиратов. Господин председатель, совершенно очевидно, что нам бы сегодня не пришлось обсуждать возникающие на Ближнем Востоке угрозы ядерной, физической ядерной и радиологической безопасности, если бы не военные авантюры США и Израиля против Ирана.
Moscow's envoy, Vasily Nebenzia, backed the technical findings but used the floor to accuse UN leadership of extreme double standards. Nebenzia lambasted Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez for ignoring years of joint U.S. and Israeli airstrikes targeting atomic facilities across Iran, including the Bushehr plant, while similarly remaining silent over Ukrainian attacks on the Russian-controlled Zaporozhye station, with Iraq emerging as a launching pad for long-range strikes against Gulf infrastructure. The attack on Baraka marks a dangerous expansion of the conflict, threatening to transform the region's clean energy transition into a vulnerability. This has been Jane Coniter, Global Citizen Correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Up next, African leaders in Kigali urge a unified framework for an indigenous atomic power grid, with Togo's president pushing for control of the continent's nuclear sector. The Senate Impeachment Court has served a summons to Vice President Sara Duterte, escalating proceedings over corruption and mismanagement allegations. Police have submitted their report on the May 13th Senate gun incident, with officials stressing there was no actual attack on the chamber. More news when Newsline World returns.
Pagod? Nanunuyo ang lalamunan? O baka naman nahihirapan kang mag-focus sa ginagawa? Kapartner, baka naman dehydrated ka na. Ang katawan natin ay binubuo ng halos 60% hanggang 70% na tubig. Kung walang sapat na hydration, parang sasakyang walang gasolina ang ating katawan, hindi makakaarangkada. Bakit nga ba mahalaga ang tamang hydration? Hindi lamang ito pamatid uhaw dahil nakatutulong rin ito sa pagdaloy ng sustansya sa katawan, pagpapanatili ng tamang body temperature at pagpapakinis ng kutis. Kaya't huwag nang hintayin pang mauhaw ka bago uminom. Ang pagkauhaw ay babala na ng iyong katawan na ikaw ay dehydrated na. Ang standard na payo ng mga doktor ay 8 baso ng tubig ang dapat inumin bawat araw. Pero tandaan, depende ito sa iyong timbang, edad at kung gaano ka ka-active. Samantala, narito ang ilang gabay para manatiling hydrated. Simula ng araw sa isang basong tubig. Magbaon ng sariling tumbler para siguradong may maiinom saan man magpunta. At hanggat maaari, piliin ang tubig kaysa mga matatamis na inumin. Kaya mga kapartner, manatiling hydrated para makaiwas sa mas malalang sakit at upang maalagaan ang iyong kalusugan.
African heads of state are calling for the urgent creation of a unified regional and financial regulatory framework to deploy an indigenous atomic power grid. Speaking at the NASA's 2026 summit in Kigali, Togolese leader for Nyasing Bay asserted that the continent must move away from imported valuations, advocating for a nuclear sector designed, operated, and governed solely by Africans. More on this from Faith Agustin.
For Africa to move from ambition to...
The second edition of the Nuclear Energy Innovation Summit on Africa opened at the Kigali Convention Center on Tuesday under the banner of transforming policy into bankable investment pipelines. Taking the stage alongside regional heads, Togolese President of the Council of Ministers for Esazimna Nyasing Bay rejected the idea of treating advanced energy systems as international aid, reframing the technology as an active commercial marketplace. Nyasing Bay said, and I quote, "Africa is not asking to be handed the technology as charity. Africa is instead proposing a partnership. Africa is proposing a market, an adult vision of its own energy future. African nuclear energy will not be an imported nuclear industry. It will be a nuclear sector designed, operated, and governed by Africans." End of quote. Nyasing Bay argued that while the continent commands the necessary uranium reservoirs, domestic demand, and political backing, it lacks the specialized financial mechanisms required to build long-term infrastructure. Host leader Rwandan President Paul Kagame strongly backed the atomic initiative, warning that fragmented isolationist national frameworks will severely delay progress and inflate procurement costs.
For Africa, energy is not simply a development issue. It is the foundation of industrial growth and competitiveness. Modern manufacturing, mineral processing, digital infrastructure, and advanced healthcare all depend on reliable power.
Underscoring this localized drive, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan unveiled an ambitious national energy roadmap. With Tanzania's domestic power demand projected to exceed 70,000 megawatts by 2050, Hassan announced a concrete deal to construct 1,200 megawatts of dedicated nuclear capacity within the next 10 years. The expansion will be managed in direct coordination with the International Atomic Energy Agency and overseen by Tanzania's newly established National Nuclear Energy Implementation Organization.
We must continue working together to create an enabling environment that supports investment, strengthening institutions, and build the technical capacity necessary for long-term energy transformation.
This has been Faith Agustin, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
University professors across Venezuela launched a nationwide 24-hour strike on Tuesday, completely paralyzing higher education enrollment to demand revenue balances against repeated hyperinflation. Vergil Parba reports.
Hallways stood completely deserted. Lecture halls were left entirely pitch black, and tape-shut classroom doors lined the Central University of Venezuela in Caracas. The total shutdown follows a full-scale walkout by academic staff protesting structural payroll collapse that has reduced higher education wages down to near zero value. Professors revealed that base monthly salaries now sit at the baseline bottom between 20 cents and $1 maximum, turning teaching into an act of pure charity. The flashpoint boiled over after the Maduro administration authorized an exclusive academic recognition bonus on April 30. The policy arbitrarily cut out over 100,000 university staff and completely ignored retired faculty members.
Las remuneraciones del sector universitario que van de un obrero uno, un profesor del más alto escalafón, con doctorado culminado, van entre 20 centavos y $1. Eso efectivamente no es salario. Lo que se pagan son unas bonificaciones que el gobierno además el 30 de abril decidió pagarla en forma arbitraria.
Faced with a total economic starvation, faculty members are increasingly forced to work secondary informal jobs to subsidize their roles at the university. Economics and humanities departments warned that the current state bonus apparatus is specifically calculated to bypass mandatory legal benefits, stripping workers of safety nets when they take vacation leave or enter retirement.
Nuestra remuneración de salario, el salario hoy apenas significa el de mayor dedicación $1. Y el profesor que se va a iniciar significa 30 centavos de dólar. Eso en bolívares son 346 bolívares y 522. Eso es prácticamente condenar a la desaparición la actividad docente. Escalaremos el conflicto. Escalar el conflicto para el sector universitario es asumir la movilización, la agitación y la denuncia de lo que estamos viviendo. No descartamos nada en términos de las acciones que vamos a realizar.
While engineering students expressed a deep frustration that the executive branch will simply ignore the strike, union leaders promised a major escalation of public blockades and street mobilization if baseline economic adjustment are not brought to the table.
El gobierno nacional nos ha sometido a un sistema de bonificación. Estos bonos no son contabilizados para cuando se pagan las prestaciones sociales, cuando un trabajador adquiere el beneficio de la jubilación, cuando llega el periodo vacacional y se paga el bono vacacional, el bono de fin de año. Es decir, una persona que tenga una familia de 5 miembros no puede ni siquiera hacer un mercado con lo que le pagan de bono de fin de año.
This has been Virgil Parba, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Japan and Brazil have launched their inaugural foreign ministers' strategic dialogue in Tokyo, marking a new era of coordination between the two global partners. Paul Montibon has the updates.
It is a historic first for the two global partners. On Monday, Japan and Brazil officially launched their strategic dialogue. This marks the concrete activation of a broad 5-year global partnership blueprint signed by both nations during President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's state visit last year. Japanese Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi opened a strategic dialogue by highlighting the deeply rooted cultural and democratic ties connecting the two nations.
価値や技術を共有する日本の戦略的グローバルパートナー昨年3月のルーラ大統領国賓訪問の際両首脳が発表したアクションプランによる第1回外相戦略対話を開くことができて大変嬉しく
The central milestone of the diplomatic summit was the formal signing of a brand new crisis framework titled the Memorandum of Cooperation on Assisting Japanese and Brazilian Nationals Abroad. Under the specific terms of this pact, Japan and Brazil will pool logistical intelligence and coordinate emergency evacuation assets to protect their respective populations trapped in third-party countries during wars, natural disasters, or unexpected political unrest. Brazilian Foreign Minister Mauro Vieira emphasized that the ongoing Tokyo meetings serve to instantly operationalize the long-term bilateral commitments established during their previous executive summits.
O ano passado foi particularmente auspicioso para as relações Brasil-Japão. Além da visita de Estado do presidente Lula, que foi o ponto alto do ano de intercâmbio e da amizade e da celebração dos 130 anos do nosso relacionamento bilateral, tive a honra de ser o anfitrião em um almoço de Estado no Palácio Itamaraty da princesa Kako de Akishino, acompanhada de importante delegação japonesa.
For government country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montibon, SMNI News.
The Philippine National Police has submitted to the Department of Justice last Tuesday, May 19, the results of its investigation into the gun-related incident at the Senate on May 13. Related to this, the DILG stressed that all evidence indicates there was no attack on the Senate. Crescent Catarong reports.
During the palace briefing on May 19, PNP Chief Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. personally handed over to Justice Secretary Frederick Vida the report concerning the gun-related incident that occurred last week at the Senate building in Pasay City. PNP's report contains available video footage, witness interviews, and sworn affidavits.
The Philippine National Police will now turn over the records of investigation pertaining to the discharge of firearm or shooting incident at the premises of the Senate building last May 13 at about 7:46 p.m. and several documents prior to that, starting from May 12 up to the time na May 14, 2:30 a.m. where Senator Bato de la Rosa was seen leaving the premises of the Senate building.
The police chief also shared that the initial investigation was conducted by the Pasay City Police Station. The PNP's Criminal Investigation and Detection Group or CIDG later joined the investigation, particularly in gathering records, information, and necessary evidence to formulate findings, conclusions, and recommendations. According to Nartates, the review of the PNP investigation report and the decision on possible next steps now rest with the DOJ panel. Interior Secretary John Vic Rimulya also attended the press briefing. He said that after nearly a week of thorough investigation, including the collection of all available videos, interviews, and affidavits, authorities arrived at several conclusions. Rimulya stressed that all evidence indicates there was no attack on the Senate.
For the record, all evidence points that there was no attack on the Senate. I would like to repeat, all evidence points that there was no attack on the Senate.
In connection with this, President Marcos Jr. ordered the NBI and PNP to conduct a thorough investigation into the Senate incident. The Senate shooting incident happened amid tensions surrounding reports of a possible attempt to serve an ICC warrant of arrest against Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. When asked about personalities who may face charges and possible violations, Secretary Vida declined to comment while the investigation remains ongoing.
We've identified, but I don't want to preclude yung panel natin, no? Pero medyo malawak, no? Ang tinitingnan nga ng panel natin, based on my order, is not only for the May 13 and May 14. Ang pinatitingnan natin, look at the totality of circumstances, which started May 11. So lahat ng timelines na yan from May 11 to May 14, titingnan ng ating panel.
The Justice Secretary added that he would refrain from providing details regarding possible charges while authorities continue reviewing the evidence and timeline of events. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Creseline Catarong, SMNI News.
The Senate Impeachment Court has officially served the summons to Vice President Sara Duterte today, May 20, as part of the ongoing impeachment proceedings against her. Around 10 a.m. this morning, personnel from the Senate Office of the Sergeant-at-Arms or USAA, led by Officer-in-Charge Manuel Parlade, left to personally serve the summons to VP Sara. Under the directive of Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano, who serves as presiding officer of the impeachment court, VP Sara has been given 10 calendar days to submit her response to the articles of impeachment filed against her. The summons also states that the Vice President is required to appear before the impeachment court once it issues a notice for the succeeding hearings. Meanwhile, the Office of the Vice President confirmed that it received the summons from the impeachment court at around 10:40 a.m. this Wednesday.
Maging ligtas, maging handa. Narito ang ilang paalala kung sakaling tumama ang lindol. Maghanda ng emergency kits na may lamang flashlight, pito, first aid kit, tubig at pagkain. Alamin ang emergency exits sa inyong bahay, paaralan o opisina. Habang lumilindol, magtago sa ilalim ng matibay na lamesa upang maprotektahan ang sarili sa mga nahuhulog na bagay. Lumayo sa mga bintana at mabibigat na gamit na maaaring mahulog. Kung ikaw ay nasa labas, lumayo sa mga gusali, puno o poste na maaaring matumba. Kung ikaw ay nagmamaneho, itabi at ihinto ang sasakyan at lumabas. Pagkatapos ng lindol, gamitin ang hagdan sa paglabas ng gusali at huwag gumamit ng elevator. Maging alerto sa aftershocks at manatili sa open space kung kinakailangan. Maging ligtas at maging handa sa anumang sakuna. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
A 19-year-old street food vendor in the coastal city of Yantai has taken social media by storm, earning the nickname the Stir Fry CEO by serving up his dishes in a flawless, tailored business suit. What started as a playful attempt to stand out in a crowded night market has transformed a family fried rice stall into a national internet sensation. This story from Estela Maris.
Xiao Lu started helping run his family's night market stall at age 17, handling the cooking while his father prepared the ingredients. Observing the crowded market scene, he realized that his stall needed something to stand out among dozens of similar vendors. Initially, he added a simple vest to his attire, which earned positive reactions from customers. Encouraged by the response, Xiao Lu eventually began cooking in a full business suit, transforming his appearance from casual vendor to CEO of Stir Fry. The combination of skillful cooking and sharp dressing quickly caught the attention of social media users. Videos and photos of Xiao Lu preparing dishes in his suit went viral, with many praising his professionalism, charm, and the playful twist he brought to street food culture. The young entrepreneur's story highlights how creativity and presentation can make even a modest market stall unforgettable. According to local media reports, Xiao Lu continues to serve meals at his family's night market stall, blending business-like style with traditional cooking, inspiring other young vendors to think outside the box. This is Stella Maris, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Authorities in Barcelona have reportedly arrested and questioned Jonathan Andic in connection with the death of his father, Isaac Andic. Meanwhile, celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay was left horrified during a recent episode of MasterChef as after discovering a non-food item inside a contestant's dish. Sigrid Castañeda tells us more.
Fashion tycoon and former Mango CEO Isaac Andic, 71, died in late 2024 after falling near 500 feet from a cliff while hiking near the Catalan city with his son. Police initially investigated the incident as an accident before later reopening the case as a possible homicide investigation in October. Jonathan Andic has consistently maintained that his father's death was accidental and has denied any wrongdoing. Spanish media reports say he is now facing formal questioning as investigators continue examining the circumstances surrounding the fatal fall. Mango is one of Europe's largest fashion retailers, founded by Isaac Andic in Barcelona in 1984. Celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay was visibly shocked after reportedly finding an unexpected object inside a dish while tasting it during judging. The incident happened during the new season of MasterChef Global Gauntlet, where contestants were challenged to prepare stadium-style food inspired by their culture and heritage ahead of the World Cup. Contestant Nora, representing Team Africa, presented a haddock and makuda sandwich served with chermola mayo and Mediterranean salad. The moment quickly drew reactions from viewers online, with fans discussing the tense exchange and Ramsay's reaction during the competition. Known for his fiery critics and adventurous palate, Ramsay has previously sampled some of the world's most unusual foods throughout his decades-long culinary career. And that's all for now. This is Sigrid Castañeda, bringing you the latest showbiz.
In tennis, former US Open champion Bianca Andreescu is fighting her way back to the top after years of injuries, personal struggles, and a long title drought. Meanwhile, former NBA Lakers star Rick Fox has been appointed as an opposition senator in the Bahamas despite losing his bid for a legislative seat in the country's general election. Here's the report.
Bianca Andreescu shocked at the tennis world in 2019 when she defeated Serena Williams to win the US Open title at just 19 years old, becoming Canada's first Grand Slam singles champion and one of the sport's brightest young stars. But after her breakthrough season, injuries and setbacks quickly disrupted her rise. Knee, ankle, and abdominal injuries, along with the COVID-19 pandemic, kept her away from competition for long stretches and caused her ranking to fall outside the world's top 200. Now 25 years old, Andreescu is rebuilding her career through the lower-level ITF circuit, where she recently captured her first singles title in more than 6 years after winning tournaments in Florida earlier this season. The Canadian admitted the journey back has not been easy, especially after struggling with pressure and expectations following her US Open triumph. Andreescu said competing in smaller tournaments helped her regain confidence, improve her fitness, and rediscover her love for the game as she aims to return to the sport's biggest stages. Currently ranked number 137 in the world, Andreescu is now focused on qualifying for the French Open main draw and believes she still has what it takes to compete for Grand Slam titles once again. Meanwhile, retired three-time NBA champion Rick Fox was appointed by the opposition Free National Movement Party as one of its 4 senators following last week's national elections in the Bahamas. Fox ran as a candidate for the House of Assembly but failed to secure enough votes to win a seat during the elections won by Prime Minister Philip Davis and the ruling Progressive Liberal Party. Under the Bahamian political system, senators are appointed by both the government and opposition parties, allowing political groups to select candidates even if they were unsuccessful in the elections. Born in Canada to a Bahamian father and Canadian mother, Fox grew up in the Bahamas and was eligible to enter politics in the Caribbean nation. Fox played 13 seasons in the NBA with the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers, helping the Lakers capture 3 consecutive championships before retiring in 2004. Aside from basketball, Fox also built a successful acting career, appearing in several television shows and films over the years.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the Son. When you sacrifice for a notable cause, the Father will prosper you. That's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Almar Forsuelo. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.